What's good, YouTube? This is ADMIN UMBRA back for another episode of Rocket Daily, bringing you another battle with my Charizard Y trapping team. This battle, of course, happened on the Rocket HQ stream. A great place to be if you're looking for battles. There's a link to that below. Also, follow us on Twitter so you can be sure to know when we are streaming. And also, if you want to battle us, we often look for battles on Twitter. And if you want to battle us, tweet at us. We're always looking for battles. So, this battle's against Johnny Drama, again from the stream. Look at that name. Gotta love that name. As soon as I saw his team, I was laughing. Really interesting to see him with the, another trap on his team. Obviously, I'm using a trapping team, and he has a trap on his team. The, pancake stack ears, the bow tie stack, the Gothitelle. Haven't seen too much of it in this gen, but obviously known for its ability to trap, with its ability. Looking at the rest of his team, even division, special physical attackers. In terms of leads, I really predicted either Greninja or Rotom. Both of which make me want to lead Conkeldurr. Most Rotoms obviously carry the Will-O-Wisp. And then with Assault Vest, Rotom can't do too much to me uninvested. So Conkeldurr would do a great job of threatening Rotom out. And also Greninja wouldn't be able to do very much. So it can threaten both out very well. Extra Sensory is less common on Greninja. But I could still go for a knockoff first turn regardless if he led with either of those and do some serious damage. So my team, if you're not familiar with this team, be sure you check out the Rocket Public Prezi account. Link is in the description. There's an in-depth walkthrough of this team. If you want to use this team yourself, check out the link to the public Rocket Google Drive, the Rocket Armory. There you can find there you can find the text for this team, copy and paste it, put it in your own Pokemon Showdown team builder. Use this team immediately today, right now. So, looking at my actual team, standard Assault Vest Conkeldurr, especially defensive Wish passing Jirachi with Doom Desire. The Mandibuzz is there for some utility, with Whirlwind, things of that nature. Defog as well. Garchomp, actually, I won't even officially call a member of this team. I've had a lot of success with this team, and I very rarely actually use the Pokemon in that slot. I really use the defensive core of Jirachi, Mandibuzz, and Rotom the most, and then Charizard and Conkeldurr get some action. But I very rarely use the sixth Pokemon. Garchomp works very well. This particular Garchomp is Focus Sashed, so it allows me to deal with things that have set up on my team, things that might be faster. I also carry Stealth Rocks. Because I have a Trapper, the interaction of this team essentially Charizard Y carries Fire Spin. It can trap Mons that set up hazards, that remove hazards. By trapping those pokes and then switching into Conkeldurr to take them out, I'm free to either set up my own racks with Garchomp, set up my screens with Rotom. This is a screen setting Rotom, and then defog their hazards out. So I can trap their hazard setter up, kill it, use defog, and then set up my own screens and whatnot. So that's how the team is designed to work. I've made some edits since testing this team. The biggest being I've removed Hidden Power Ice from Charizard. I now prefer Ancient Power or Air Slash. I didn't feel I got that much coverage with Hidden Power Ice. Most of the things I would use it on will hit really hard anyway. Things that are faster, like Garchomp, I don't want to stay in on Charizard with anyway, and I do have Ice Punch on Conkeldurr. So, in preparation for the battle, again, looking at my opponent's team, I really anticipated a Rotom or Greninja lead. So that is why I chose to lead with Conkeldurr. And let's go ahead and get into the battle now. No. And thank you all again so much for supporting Rocket HQ. It's an absolute pleasure to bring this battle to you. My opponent does surprise me. They actually lead with Talonflame. It puts me in a position I don't want to be in. Normally I don't like to go switch Rotom into Talonflame because it doesn't take Brave Bird Choice Banded that well, but I have no other option. It's the only thing that even wants to take one. So they do end up going for a Brave Bird, and immediately, as soon as I see the damage, I know that this is not a banded Talonflame. And now, predicting my opponent to switch out, they actually go for the U-turn. I do carry T-Wave, but predicting them to switch out, I actually went for a Light Screen. Looking at their team, I saw that special threats were going to be more problematic for this team. So I do end up setting a Light Screen. And now the Trapper comes in for my opponent, which I'm not at all worried about because I do have Volt Switch. So I go ahead and go for a T-Wave just to really try and cripple this thing. And actually, the Beyonce here goes for Calm Mind. So I'm like, alright, I don't really want to try and take this thing on if it's going to set up. So my immediate plan is I can Volt Switch out, go into Mandibuzz, and then go for a Whirlwind. With the light screen up, I should be able to survive any one hit, even if it goes for 2 Calm Minds. I can just Whirlwind it out and deal with it later. So that's my plan. That's what I end up doing. I was really excited to see, my opponent's team have a Trapper, because this is a trapping team. But I'm glad that it is able to handle other Trappers relatively well. So my opponent does break through the Paralyze. I get second Calm Mind off, but they can't hit me on the turn I go for Whirlwind, because they do get paralyzed on that turn. I Whirlwind them out. I'm actually very happy to see that another Pop Star, the Haxorus comes out. It's actually great news for me, because Foul Play to Haxorus does even more than it does to Garchomp. And so my opponent does show me that they carry Rock Slide. They get a crit, and at first I thought they were banded based on how much that does. But I am able to get a Foul Play off. It does a ton of damage, but because I took a crit, I really don't want to stay in here with Mandibuzz because I'll lose it. So I go into Rapution, or excuse me, Conqueror. I always call this thing Rapution, that's why I named it that. Knowing I can eat up a Rock Slide. Now, I know my opponent would probably be threatened out, and they do have the obvious Gothitelle, so I do in fact go for a knockoff. It'll kill the Haxorus, and it'll do massive damage to the Gothitelle if it comes in. I'm rewarded for that prediction. They actually do bring it in, which makes me very, very happy, because now I'm in a position where I can take this thing out, and that relieves a lot of pressure from my team. So I do get the lucky crit, but in 2 hits I'm able to take the thing out. My light screen goes down at this point, and now the Talonflame comes back out, and this should be familiar to you. This is a repeat of the first turn. Normally I like to mix up my switches, so predicting my opponent to go for a Brave Bird, I go into Jirachi to take as little from the Brave Bird as possible, give them some added recoil, and then switch into the Rotom to take as little damage on Rotom as possible. However, they go for Swords Dance. I know I need to get Jirachi out of here, and now I'm kind of scared because they did go for the Swords Dance. So this Flare Blitz, I'm gone. I can't live 2 hits on this thing anymore because it did in fact go for the Swords Dance. I'm not terribly worried. I went for a T-Wave here in case they did something weird, like went for another Swords Dance. I could try and cripple this thing. But I do have to fodder my Rotom here. But this is why this Garchomp actually works very, very well on the team. I do mix up that 6th slot quite a bit. I use a lot of different mods in that slot. But I really enjoy Garchomp because with a Focus Sash, this thing is an excellent counter for things of this exact nature. Obviously my opponent is anticipating the standard Scarf set. But because I am Focus Sash, the priority Brave Bird doesn't matter. I'm able to live it. And I can take this thing out. My moveset on Garchomp is actually Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Outrage. I didn't really want to risk going for like a Stone Edge, so I ended up just going for an Outrage. Really a waste, of an Outrage, but this Talonflame is a tremendous threat, and I just wanted to get it out of the way. My opponent does bring in Rotom. I'm wishing I could have got the crit on this turn with the Outrage, because obviously Outrage is a 2-hit KO on defensive Rotom. So I do end up going for an Outrage, get a large chunk of damage off. And they actually show me Hidden Power. Interesting choice, because I know they are a Leftovers variant. But I can understand that move. It might have been their only attack that would hit Garchomp. 100% Volt Switch not affecting me. And I can understand them not wanting to get a miss on Hydro Pump. So now I go into Admiral Akbar here. Because obviously I can obliterate this Rotom with a Solar Beam. Looking at their team, there's really no need for me to go for a Fire Spin or try and trap anything. So I do go ahead and just go outright for a Solar Beam. Greninja is a very, very likely to come in after this Rotom goes down. And that's what I am afraid of, because obviously I don't outspeed Greninja, and it has Ice Beam. So I do go for the Solar Beam. Rotom easily goes down. Charizard-wise, an excellent lead if you predict Rotom to come in, because it will one-shot physically defensive Rotom with Solar Beam. So the Greninja does come out, and now I have to switch out with the Admiral. And I go in the Conkeldurr, I go in the Freezy Fist, the Mandibuzz. I think I should have really just gone in the Conkeldurr. I was essentially just trying to fodder Mandibuzz. I wanted to scout for a Sash, scout for Life Orb, but in the current meta, Life Orb is so tremendously common. I don't think it was necessary for me to fodder off this Mon entirely. I could have also been thinking I wanted to bait them into Ice Beam so I could go in the Conkeldurr and kill them with a Mach Punch or a Drain Punch. But again, Charizard was in. There's no reason my opponent wouldn't have gone for an Ice Beam. So now I do bring in Conkeldurr. I thought it was very obvious that I want a Drain Punch because it's super effective and it will do tremendous damage to this thing. So I actually go for a Drain Punch, predicting like a switch of some sort. But my opponent does stay in, especially in the sun. I take that Hydro Pump very, very well. And I go for a Drain Punch. I'm able to get all my health back. Which is actually very fortuitous that I get this much health back because you'll see I need it to survive the mons that he has left. So my opponent goes into Sock, which credit for using. I've actually used Sock quite a bit in OU. I have a Focus Energy variant. I have a Scarf variant. But my opponent does go for Close Combat, and I just barely live that with 3 HP. Luckily, I'm able to then go for a Drain Punch of my own, get a large amount of health back. That does a lot, especially due to the defense drop from Close Combat. And obviously now I have priority. Sock doesn't carry priority. I have the Mach Punch. So I am able to take this thing out. And now the only mon my opponent has remaining is in fact their Haxorus from earlier in the game, which is at a very low region of HP, so low in fact that a Mach Punch from Conkeldurr will be enough to knock it out. So that is in fact the game. Go for this Mach Punch and I defeat the Haxorus. So thank you so much, Johnny, for an amazing battle. It was an absolute pleasure battling you. Remember, in the future, you are always welcome to do dual comms with myself or Shade whenever we battle. If you have any awesome battles that you'd like to show off, please send them in to us. We're always looking for viewer submissions. And that goes for all of you in the audience as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Rocket HQ. My name is ADMIN Umbra, signing off. Have a good one.